Glenn Beck comes in to do this segment on the OC Sergeant and the NEA, and there's a controversy because the NEA apparently is pushing United We Serve, find a way to get artists, to get encourage citizens to serve the government, their communities, et cetera, et cetera. That part I do not find objectionable at all. One thing I do find objectionable is, as usual, Glenn Beck's intro into this segment. So first let's watch the unbearable intro.
I may be a self-educated man, but I am a man who has spent a lot of time trying to do my homework, figure out what was going on. I made a promise to myself on September 11th because I didn't think I was qualified to be able to speak to a nation or even speak to my neighbors about things that I didn't understand. So I put myself through school. In the last year and a half or so, quite frankly because my daughter disagreed with me on American history, I put myself through American history classes, and I studied the early 20th century progressive movement. It is there that I learned that beautiful things can be extraordinarily dangerous. It's there that I learned that Goebbels in Germany actually said they lost World War I because of propaganda from the West. They studied American propaganda coming from the progressives in the Woodrow Wilson administration. I learned that we had 150,000 political prisoners in this nation because people spoke out against the administration and the war. I'm going to show you the beginning of something that should scare the living daylights out of you. It is propaganda in America. The National Endowment of the Arts is now holding conference calls.
Oh my God, that scares the living daylights out of me. But the thing is, it works, right? A lot of people, I have people who email us all the time. My mom or my dad watches Glenn Beck, and they are scared out of their mind. Oh my God, it's happening! The Nazi takeover through the National Endowment of the Arts. Okay, now that's absurd. And you see what he just did there? First of all, I love how he admits every once in a while, I don't know anything, man. I started learning in 2001? You were a grown-ass man who had a national radio show already in 2001. That's when you first started learning anything? All right, anyway, and then he's like, I'll look through history. And the lesson he learned in history is that the Nazis learned their propaganda from progressives. Look, it makes me want to say terrible things too, okay? That is so outrageous. The Nazis are all the way on the right side of the spectrum. They're extreme right-wingers. To say that they're related to progressives because they learned how to do marketing from some guy in America, which is of very questionable veracity to begin with, is an absurd statement. So, now we start out with this absurdity, right? So where's the part that I agree with him? Well, you know what? Turns out that the call not only said, hey, how can we serve through art, which I think is absolutely legitimate, nothing wrong with it at all, but then went on to mention specific issues, right? Education, energy, and healthcare. That's where I think they made a serious mistake. I don't agree with that. So let's show you Beck's statement here. He's going to be on with the artist who was also part of this call and who taped it and brought it to Beck, okay? I think he makes good points, and ridiculously enough, Beck actually made a decent point here. Let's watch and then I'll tell you why.
Basically inviting out the art community, people that they potentially fund, the National Endowment for the Arts that potentially funds these people.
Okay.
And you're having them talk about specific issues. And you know, this was a hand-picked group. We were told several times throughout the conference call that we were selected for a reason, that these are the people that helped Obama come into the office. They used the Hope poster and the Will.I.Am song as specific examples of how this group played a role in getting this man elected. So to me, I'm like, I'm seeing this hand-picked group, and I'm seeing them talk about, wanting us to talk about specific issues at a time that these specific issues are being vehemently debated, and it just didn't seem right to me. The National Endowment for the Arts is called the National Endowment for the Arts, not to use the arts. And it's a very subtle distinction, but it's very potent distinction.
And I don't know if we have this piece of audio cut. I would like to encourage you to pick something: healthcare, education, environment, the four areas the administration has identified as areas of service. Then apply your artistic creativity to it. Bring them to the table. Again, the NEA is honored to be working with you. What does that mean to you when they said that?
Well, to me, it was steering us in a certain direction. It was telling us to make art specific to those areas.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now look here, you could make a fair case and say, look, that's not what they're saying. You can make art any way you like on those 4 issues. You could be pro-progressive position, anti-progressive position, however you want to put it in terms of art, right? They're not telling you have to be on the Democratic side. But you know what? That's too close for comfort. No, you can't have government officials at the NEA telling artists, hey, why don't you go and do art that supports the 4 areas we'd like to focus on in government. No, I disagree with that philosophy. At another point here, Beck made a point. He said, what would the liberals have done if the Bush administration had done this? That's right. I thought of that as I was watching the segment before he even said that. And so when he said something I was thinking, I was like, whoa, we got a real issue here. Man, that made me feel uncomfortable. But the bottom line is it's right. Now, if the Bush administration gathered a bunch of artists and said, hey, we'll pay you to basically support our agenda, no, that's not kosher. Right? You can't do that. So what happened here was wrong. Would I have fired Yossi Sargent, who's the communication director who put this together? Yeah, I might have fired him. I mean, I'd take a look at the context a little bit better. Is this the first time he screwed up? Is it something he's done before? What was the intent? I'm very uncomfortable giving, Beck 2 victories in a row, not because, you shouldn't do that and you should make your decisions based on Beck or against Beck. No. It's just, I think you're sending out a bad message that anytime he puts somebody on TV, they get fired. Just as a matter of politics, I'd be a little careful about that. Realistically, is that involved in any decision that they make in the White House? Of course it is, right? So I'd weigh all that stuff. I'm being really honest with you. But in the end of the day, I would definitely take action. Either fire the guy or give him a reprimand, but one thing is absolutely sure, I would go to the NEA and make sure that this doesn't happen again, because you can't have politically sponsored art there. I don't think that's the point of the NEA, and I think frankly it endangers the NEA when you politicize it like that. And even if you think it's not overtly political because they're not telling you which side to take, I think it's too close for comfort, and I'm not in favor of it. So I'm not, the timing of it sucks, the context of it sucks, but I'm not outraged that they fired Yossi Sargent, because what he did, he should not have done.